Hello guys, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you doing today? Let me introduce myself first. My name is Muhammad Samsul Jamaludin, and I'm a student of Magister Management, Economic Faculty of State University of Jakarta. And right now, let me share with you guys my thesis result. And before that, let me share my screen first. And just bear with me, guys. I'm so sorry if my network really unstable right now. So I hope this record really goes well. And but bear with me. I'm so sorry if the network really the signal really weak. It's not really good here in my place. So I hope you can see my screen right now. Yeah. So my thesis entitled The Influence of Transformational Leadership on Performance Through Motivation and Job Satisfaction for Teachers at Al Istiqomah Karyaguna Kebumen Education Foundation, or we call say Yayasan Pendidikan Al Istiqomah Karyaguna Kebumen. Next, just wait. Yeah, right. We have some of contents here. Of course, the first chapter until 5 chapters. There is introduction, literature review, research methods, results and discussion, and also conclusion. And next, for research background, we have some cases here. The first is there is a decline in performance at those institutions, and the second thing is there is a research inconsistency in leadership transformational, of course, in influence of leadership transformationals to performance, whether they're directly or indirectly, be mediated by motivation or some job satisfaction. And here we also did the pre-survey variables, to decide what variables we need to discuss and we need to take the research. And then here we have a research focus. We have seven research purposes and research questions. Of course, they have to be balanced, right? The first is, is leadership transformational or transformational leadership influential to motivation to teachers at Yayasan Pendidikan Also Makaryaguna Kebumen? And research purpose, of course, for analyze the influence leadership transformational to motivation to teachers, and then to satisfactions work, job satisfactions or satisfaction work, and then to of course to performance directly, and then for analyze the influence of motivation to performance at teachers, and then to analyze the influence of job satisfaction to performance at teachers, directly, and for indirect effect or indirectly for analyze influence transformational leadership to performance through motivations to at teachers to at those institution, and for analyze influence leadership transformational or transformational leadership to performance to through satisfactions or job satisfactions to teachers at those institutions. And then for benefits of this research, we have two benefits. There are theoretical benefits and practical benefits. Which is theoretical benefits is for academic or those people who want to take this research as well, or to practical, of course, to institution, whether external or internal institution, of course, to those institution that I take the research. And then for supporting theory, we have this first theory is about transformational leadership. We had some theories from the experts, and we take the conclusion that transformational leadership is something or strategy where leader works as agent change that gives inspiration and transforms his followers, good individually or team, for make employee feel believe self, so that get the results for more performance maximum. There are indicators, we have three indicators, which is we contains some dimensional or some statements that we take for the questionnaire. And then for the next theory is about motivation. We have some experts as well that stated those motivations, and then we take the conclusion is can defined as effort somebody for take action for push employee or teachers, of course, they for become more productive and succeed in results objective for them, especially for the company will produce more employees good. There are indicators as well that been stated and agree from some experts or scientists. And for the next theory is about job satisfactions or work satisfaction here. We have also a theories from experts or scientists that we take the conclusion that we can conclude that job satisfaction could be meaning as work is attitude, emotional fun, and love his work, which is shown by work morale with feeling positive about work, produced from evaluation the quality as well is not quite enough answer later for ensure that employee and discrimination feel satisfied. You can read that. And then for the next performance, here we also had theories from experts, and we conclude those theory here. You can see at the monitor. And the next here, we have a preview or prior research that we use. We have 22 studies previously, and here's some of them you can see. And the next for design research and hypothesis development is we can see here for the picture, the model, and we can see the hypothesis. Hypothesis. We have 7 hypotheses. And then for time and place research, of course, we take it at Yayasan Pendidikan Alit Sukamakaria Guna, which placed at Kabadan Village, Tanjung Sari, District Petanahan, and Province Central Java or Kebumen City, right? And the population in this study, I'm sorry, we have error writing here. Actually, the actual population is 135 populations at teachers. And for sample, we can take from Isaac and Michael theory with margin of error with level 5%. So we had sample 115 samples. And this is, I'm sorry, we had made error writing here. We're gonna fix it. For data collection technique, we have quantitative with questionnaire and then observation and then study of literature here. With measurement scale, we have 5, like you can see, 1 until 5. And then for instrument development, you can see for transformational leadership, we have a 3 dimensions with 12 statements. For motivation, we have 5 dimensions or indicators are with 10 statements here. You can see that. And then for job satisfactions, we have 4 dimensions with 10 statements as well, like motivation before. And then for performance, we have 3 dimensions or indicators with 7 statements. You can see at the monitor, right? Right, for data analyze technique, we're using Smart PLS 4.0 or the news or lately version with approach structural equation modeling. Then we take outer model and inner model. Outer model is for taking the reliability and validity, and the inner model is for taking estimated the model and effect size and also bootstrapping to test the direct effect and specific indirect effect, to test the hypothesis. And the next for the result is we have here recapitulation of respondent characteristics is the gender. We take the gender, the age, and the last education of them and years of service here, which is the gender is the domination is majority of them is male with 55% or 63%, and the age is most of them is 20 until 30 years, which about 66% here for total 115 sample. And the last education is most of them are take already took the bachelor degree with almost 77%. And of course, if we calculate for master degree and doctoral degree, is also 77% plus 30% plus 100%, which is 81% total. And then years of service, most of them are five, 1 until 5 years already, which is ahead 57%. And then for the descriptive respondent performance variables, we have here the most high or the highest average for frequency and percentage statement is we got here 4.55 in 6 statements, which is said carrying out responsibilities well is an absolute must. And then for motivation variables here for the descriptive, we had the highest average is 4.58 as well, which is at the 6 statements here, which stated management does not discriminate between employees, everyone is treated fairly. And then the next descriptive respondents job satisfaction variables is we had here the highest average at 4.58, which is at the 9th statements, which stated my coworkers help me with my work and it's fun. And then the last variables, of course, transformational leadership, we had the highest average is 4.67, right? And the fourth statements, which is stated here, my leader deserves to be trusted and respected in leading. And then for our model here, we had graphical output results of PLSM algorithm test we had here. And for the result of outer loadings, or we can say as convergent validity here, is all of them already more than 0.7, and I'm not taking away any of them, one of them for indicators, statements here, because when I test the first test, when I running the test for the first time, they already has this validity and reliability, and I do not manipulate this at all. This is what it is. So I running this in front of my supervisor, which is Dr. Osli Usman, and also my supervisor, Professor Koryuhana. And this is the first running already valid and reliable. And then for construct reliability and validity here, we have the fourth variable. I mean, the 4 variables here for the FAA or FAE or average variance extracted here as validity, which standard or which point standard point here says more than 0.5, and the result is also already had more than 0.5, which is mean already valid, right, the construct. And then for the reliability here, we had row A and row C, the standard point is 0. More than 0.7, which is both of them already more than 0.7, which is 0.9. Also the Chromebox alpha here already more than 0.7, which is the result is 0.9. And it means that all of them, all the variables had, they fulfill the construct reliability and validity. And then the next for inner model here we have R square, and the fx size or f square here. For the standard R square is 0.25 is the model weak, and then for 0.50 the model is medium, and for the strong model is 0.75 here. And for the result here already they are more than 0.6 all of them, and they already had a strong models. And then for effect size here, for the standard is the lowest or the smallest is 0.02, and the strong or tall is 0.335. But the result here, there is uh, four items, and the five items. For the three items already had a medium or moderate result, but for the two results they had really really low small, even they not uh, fulfill the standard here as small result. But I think they gonna be when they add the test in direct or indirect effect at bootstrapping, they will be caused to insignificant and maybe negative influence, maybe, yeah. But let we see at bootstrapping test later. Now we see the fit model first, or goodness of fit gov here. um, as Ringo said that for fit models or goodness of fit, we can use just SRMR, or we can say as standardized root mean square residual. Here we have estimated model 0.105 and standard models 0.071. And for hypothesis testing, we can using bootstrapping test here. You can see the graphical output results, but more importantly, we can see the result of direct effect and specific indirect effect result test here. First, the result is the influence of transformational leadership to job satisfaction here. The original sample and sample mean, they had result positive, which is zero point 0.8, which mean the influence of transformational leadership to job satisfaction is had positive influence or positive effects. And to p values, they had 0.000, which standard is if less than 0.05, it means they have significant effect. It means that transformational leadership to job satisfactions had positive effect and significant effect. And the next result is transformational leadership to performance is they had original sample and sample mean negative, which mean they had negative effect. And for p values they had 0.974, 974. I mean, this is can say that for these pay values, we can see that this item has insignificant effect. It means that the influence of transformational leadership does not influencing or affecting performance significantly. And then for the result transformational leadership to motivation, here we had positive effect for sample mean and original sample, and p values is 0.00, which is significant. And the next result is job satisfaction to performance. We have positive effect as well, which with p value 0.001, which is mean significant as well. And for motivation to performance, we had negative effect, and for p values is 0.488, which mean they are not significant. And for transformational leadership to performance, which mediated by job satisfaction as variable intervening variable, they had a positive effect with original sample and sample mean positive, and p value 0.002, which is mean significant effect. They had significant effect, right? And for the last result is transformational leadership to performance with mediated or throughout motivation as intervening variables. They had negative effect in original sample and sample mean, and in p values they had 0.852, which is mean not significant. And then for the next is this, there are KPI with 360 degrees here, which requested specifically by Mrs. Dr. Widya. We had recapitulation of evaluation 360 degree here. As for the superiors here, they had assessment from the chief, and then for horizontal performance, I mean horizontal assessment, This is for peer teachers, and for you know lower assessment, there are students or parents here from assessment. And for supporting data, we had a list of absence and lateness here. I mean, there are lateness. I mean, not lateness. I mean lateness here. We can see that from January to February to March in 2024, they really increased. I mean, they had low, but this is the progress, the good progress, right? But before that, in 2023, they have really fluctuative percentage and amount. And then we can conclude that for those data that I've been shared to you guys, we can take the conclusion that first, leadership transformational have influenced positive and significant to motivation in a way directly on teacher at Yayasan Pendidikan Lastri Karya Guna tersebut, right? And the next is also not only to motivation but also to job satisfaction as well, directly in positive and significant. And then the influence of leadership transformational to motivation directly, they had negative influence and unsignificant or not significant. And then for motivation to performance, they have negative and unsignificant result or influence. They have negative and unsignificant effect. And then for satisfactions to performance, they had positive and significant effect or influence. And then for transformational leadership that mediated by job performance, affected to performance. I'm sorry, the effect of transformational leadership to performance throughout the job performance, they had positive and significant. But the effect of leadership transformational leadership to motivation, I'm sorry, to performance throughout the motivation as fair intervening variable, it has negative influence and not significant. And then for implications is we have the first implication here is the influence leadership transformational to motivation here. Based on the results study, you know that um, leadership transformational leadership on influence to motivation work in a way direct. Indicator highest indicator on each variable based on result test is at fourth variable, whether transformational leadership or motivation here. Which stated here leadership worth given trust and award in lead, whereas indicator highest motivation, namely leadership, no difference implies everyone treated with fair. These both of these variable can articulate it that excess trust and appreciation from the employees or is matter. This is a teacher a foundation. This wrong one very factor influence motivation of teachers. Motivation in work the obtained with access feeling equality or no access to examination carried out by leader to subordinates. And the next implication is influence leadership to transformational to job satisfactions here. We can see as at job satisfactions, the highest indicator is at ninth indicator, which stated colleague work I help me in work and that pleasant. Both of these highest indicator could be articulated that exists trust and award somebody in ability lead institution that become the most influential factor on satisfaction teachers work. When a teacher feels that leader they were trusted and valued in his role as leader, this then create environment positive work and support. And then the next implications is influence satisfactions work or job satisfaction to performance here. On result, we have highest indicator, which stated colleague that I work help me in work and that fun. And the second is carrying not quite enough answer with good is absolute must fulfilled. Those both indicators can calculate that job satisfaction can, create environment positive work in which the teachers feel supported and help in work. When colleagues work each other, help each other, help each other, one each other with another, volunteer and with fun way, the teacher felt more motivated for do work their work with good. And the next implications is influence leadership, transformational leadership to performance throughout job satisfaction here, which is, I already stated, the highest indicator. And the three indicators here, we can articulate it. The third statement, we can articulate it that in situation like this, recognize leadership and value on effect positive for creative environment. Where do you work, colleague, work each others, support and work the same in a way volunteer. When leader they support it, the teacher feels more motivated for work the same and help each other. Beside that, job satisfactions based work on connection, nice work with colleague work can strengthen the sense of attachment and the teacher commitment to organize and goals in careers. Leadership that grows trust can in a way direct increase satisfaction teacher work through how the connection, nice work with colleague work. This create environment positive work and support where the teacher feels supported, appreciated and connected with colleague work, their colleague work. That. And I think that all I can say. I'm sorry if really the words is really messing up because I'm still learning, and I hope it's could be helpful, useful for us. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry, so many mistakes that I've been said, directly or indirectly, but I really happy that I can join this. Thank you so much for your nice attentions. I'm sorry. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.